Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of the Cleveland Sports Bros podcast. I'm Matt alongside my brother Nick. Nick, how's it going today?
Great. We got Cleveland Browns and Cavaliers to talk about.
Yeah, so it's a victory Friday. You don't say that all that often, although Browns have seemingly had some success in these primetime games, Sunday night, Monday night, and the occasional Thursday night games, especially at home. The Browns came in at 2-8, and Pittsburgh had kind of the opposite record at 8-2, but now it's 3-8 and 8-3. Always feels good to get a win over Pittsburgh. And it turned into kind of a nice, fun, snowy game. I think that it looked like the players were having a lot of fun too. But Nick, what are some of your takeaways from the game?
Well, I love how Jameis Winston played. The Browns offense took some chances throwing the ball in the first and fourth quarter, and while Winston didn't throw for a touchdown pass, he rushed a ball in from about 2 yards out, and he had some good completions to players like Jerry Judy on fourth down. Were perfect on converting on fourth down.
Yeah, and it was not again that easy to pass through the air or anything like that. I think Pittsburgh actually had somewhat of an advantage with those white uniforms and kind of blizzard. It seemed like at times. So I gotta give him credit, even though we weren't scoring through the air. He rushed for a touchdown, and then it was awesome to see Nick Chubb rush for two touchdowns. Hopefully he continues to get stronger and stronger coming off that horrible injury, but it was great to see that. And another great thing to see, especially in the first half, was Myles Garrett's dominance. Nick, what happened with him?
Yeah, the Steelers O line had a hard time containing him, even if he was double teamed. Garrett was able to jump into the backfield and sack Wilson 3 times. One of them was a strip sack, and the Browns recovered and took advantage of the fumble and turned it into a touchdown that Chubb ran in. And it was very exciting to see Garrett, the former defensive player of the year, get in on a lot of the action.
Yeah, it was great. So next for the Browns, um, they go to Denver, so they have this Sunday off, of course, and then they go to Denver for Monday Night Football. I don't know if that can change, but it seems like it's going to be set in stone at this point. Um, Seems like they go to Denver a lot. It's rare. I want to say the last time Denver came here was when Peyton Manning was playing. I could be wrong, but it just feels like we're always going out to Denver, and that's a tough place to play, a tough crowd, tough with the altitude. And after that, they go back, or not back to, they go back to playing against Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. So, if there's any major Browns updates, we'll bring them. But let's talk Cavs. So, Nick, tell us a little bit about them. Unfortunately, their streak ended, but they're still off to an amazing start.
Yeah, so it was the second uh, in season tournament where they uh, finally, after 15 consecutive games played and won, after starting 15-0, they lost to the defending champion Boston Celtics uh, at TD Garden, where the Cavs in the first quarter and second really got off to a sluggish start. I believe they fell behind by 21, and at the end of the game, I heard the Celtics made 22 threes. Um, but Evan Mobley had a fantastic second half, mostly in the third quarter, and uh, Donovan Mitchell, while starting off slow, he tried to complete the comeback in the fourth. Cavs only lost by 3 after falling behind by 20 plus points. and Darius Garland had a rare cold night. He could not buy a bucket, and I think if he would have made maybe two or three more baskets, the Cavs flipped that, and it would have been an amazing comeback for a 16-0 start.
Yeah, part of me, they're still a really good team, best record in all NBA. But something just kind of scares me a little bit. I don't want to be a downer. It's still very early, of course, but you're gonna have to win in Boston at some point if you want to win the championship. And I don't want to move expectations too much. I don't think anyone was really thinking that they could really compete for a championship. Just after last year, it seemed like they were going to be a good team again, but they didn't really make any huge moves. Obviously, they have a new coach. In terms of players, nothing huge. So without them pulling out that win in Boston, I just feel a little bit uneasy again. You want to enjoy the ride with this team. They're playing so well for the most part. But Nick, any fears of that translating? I know it's far away, but postseason, that maybe they won't be able to get over the hump against the Boston team.
Actually, right now, I do not have many concerns. We got to remember, while they got eliminated by the Celtics in last year's postseason, the Cavs were banged up. They did not have Jared Allen, and I know a lot of people may just think of him as a big man down low who doesn't shoot a lot of threes, and that's very true. But it's a long season. You got 60 plus games left, and if the Cavaliers can maintain health, which there's a lot of luck involved with that too, and play the way they've been playing, been shooting the ball well. You gotta love the pieces coming off the players coming off the bench like Ty Jerome, Sam Merrill. They've been shooting incredibly from three. I just think they're right there with them if they can stay healthy. And like I said, it's early, but I think the number one seed is theirs to lose.
Yeah, right. And you bring up a good point. I think it's still early. Boston, I think, only has 3 losses, but they only lost 4 at home last year, I believe. So they were very good at home. I assume they're going to continue to be good at home this year. Boston just seems like a tough place to play historically. So yeah, if the Cavs get the number one seed, it doesn't matter. Well, it does, but it matters less because if they play them in the playoffs, they'll host them, and it would most likely probably be in the Eastern Conference Finals, or even if it's the semifinals, 7-game series. So there will be 4 in Cleveland and 3 in Boston, and all you got to do is win home to win the series. So yeah, I don't want to make too much out of it. It's just it shows that hey, there's still going to be some work to do, and they're going to have to play their best ball against the best teams, especially in the playoffs. But really thrilled by this run and love what they're doing for the most part.
Yeah, and I can't name many players out there that might be helpful, but when the time comes, with good health, could you see the Cavaliers trying to acquire a piece to put them over the hump or if they're playing so well, would you not want to mess with the chemistry?
Yeah, good question. It's always tough to determine. I do know that Dan Gilbert and Kobe Altman have seemed aggressive, right? They were aggressive in the move to bring Mitchell here. They extended him, right? They've shown the willingness to make big moves, and although we didn't see really big moves personnel wise, or at least player wise, in the offseason, maybe they're waiting for the trade deadline, and maybe they want to see what this new coach could do. So I really do think they could. Now, I don't know exactly what the market is like. It's probably too early to have those discussions, but yeah, I think they will be aggressive because they know that there are very talented teams out there, not just Boston, but in the West. If you do have title aspirations, that they're gonna have to compete with, and can't hurt to have more firepower. Yeah, chemistry is an issue or a potential issue, but I think fans are gonna want to see them make moves if I guess we'll see, but good question and something we'll definitely have to talk about in the future.
Yeah, so the Cavs have one more night off, and then
Or two, they play Sunday, yeah.
they play Sunday. Is it home against the Toronto Raptors, who they beat in the very first game of the win streak. So it'll be exciting to see the two teams clash again.
But yeah, they play Toronto at home, so that should be a win again. There's nothing guaranteed in the NBA or anything like that, but really excited by the start. Anything else to add for the Cavs and Browns, Nick?
No.
All right, well, thank you everyone for listening. You've been listening to the Cleveland Sports Bros podcast.